Hi there. My name is Alexander Whitmore and I'm from Toronto, Canada. As a boy, I always felt a little different from the other kids. While the boys around me were running around with toy cars and action figures, I was drawn to dolls, their elegance, their intricate outfits, and the stories I could create with them. In many ways, I connected more with the girls than with the boys, though I never quite fit in with either group. One of my earliest memories of this was when I was 6 years old. My mother took me to see Santa Claus at a shopping center, and as we waited in the long line of eager children, I noticed how each one walked away beaming, holding the very gift they had wished for. My heart pounded with excitement as my turn finally came. I climbed onto Santa's lap, and he smiled down at me before asking the question I had been waiting for. "What would you like for Christmas, young man?" Without hesitation, I answered, "Oh, I would really love to have a ballerina doll." His smile faltered slightly. "Are you sure? Maybe you'd like a toy car or a building set instead." My heart sank. Even at that age, I understood that my desire was somehow unusual, something that made adults exchange uncertain glances. I saw Santa glance at my mother, and she, after a brief hesitation, gave a small, almost imperceptible nod. A silent conversation passed between them, but I understood. She was giving him permission. After a brief pause, Santa reached into his enormous sack and pulled out a beautiful ballerina doll. My eyes widened in disbelief and joy, and before I knew it, I was crying. It was everything I had wanted, a validation of my simple childhood wish. From that moment on, dolls became a cherished part of my life. To my delight, my mother continued buying dolls for me instead of toy cars. By the time I turned 13, I had collected around 25 of them. They weren't just toys to me, they were characters in an ever-expanding story, a world where I could express myself freely. My father, despite being a pragmatic man, was surprisingly supportive in his own way. I remember the day I accidentally broke the neck of one of my favorite dolls. Devastated, I took it to him, hoping for a miracle. He was a skilled handyman, and with a careful application of epoxy glue, he managed to mend it. The repair wasn't perfect, but to me it was even more special because of the care he put into fixing it. It was a small but powerful sign of his acceptance. However, as much as he loved me, he still had his own limits. "When you turn 13, he told me one evening, "that's it. No more dolls." I knew it wasn't up for debate. And so, reluctantly, I gave most of my collection to a girl who lived down the street. She rummaged through the dolls with a critical eye before turning to me. "Not everything's here. Where's the rest?" I had hidden 4 of my favorites, including the one my father had repaired, along with some miniature furniture, carefully arranging them in an open cupboard like a tiny apartment. I looked at her firmly and said, "You're not getting any more. Take what you have and go. I don't want to see you again." And I never did. At the same age, something else shaped my future. My mother took me to the movies for the first time, where I saw Sleeping Beauty on the big screen. I was mesmerized. The fluidity of the animation, the rich colors, the characters. It was magic brought to life. That day, I decided I wanted to be an animator. I didn't fully understand what that meant, but I knew deep inside that it was what I was meant to do. My love for dolls naturally evolved into a love for drawing, particularly feminine characters. I spent years perfecting my craft, eventually earning a place as an animator at a major studio. When I started working at DreamWorks, I was living my dream. On my first week there, a few coworkers and I wandered into a toy store during lunch. One of the women casually picked up a Barbie doll, and suddenly I realized I could buy one too. For the first time in my life, I had my own money, and no one could tell me what I could or couldn't purchase. It was liberating. That day, I bought my first doll as an adult, rekindling a passion that had been dormant for years. My career flourished. I worked on animated features like The Little Mermaid 2, Return to the Sea, and the Aladdin sequels. My colleagues knew me as the go-to person for animating feminine characters, ensuring they exuded grace and personality. My workspace was adorned with dolls, little muses that reminded me why I had chosen this path in the first place. Eventually, I left the animation industry to pursue something even closer to my heart. I began designing my own line of fashion dolls. Today, my company, Whitmore Creations, produces the Elegance line, a collection of high-quality dolls sculpted with precision and artistic integrity. Every curve, every detail, every outfit is a reflection of my lifelong passion, informed by years of experience in animation. Looking back, I realize that the world often tries to put limits on children, defining what they should or shouldn't love. But creativity knows no boundaries. My advice to parents is this: don't suppress your child's imagination. It is in those moments of uninhibited creativity that they discover their true selves. Let them find the magic within themselves by embracing the magic in the world around them.